Yeah, sis and tell. A whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand up, Alison's on TV. And when they hop on the phone, it's the place you wanna be. Sis and tell. Sis and tell.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man, what's going on?
You know, just prepping myself for my second dose. I have my friend Matthew told me to take Tylenol beforehand, and I'm listening to him, even though he is not a doctor. He's a comedian, right? He's a comedian. He's a man of life, and I'm going to listen to whatever Matthew tells me to do. Is that the right thing? Because you have that weekly call with Dr. Kaufman where y'all talk about stuff.
I don't know if I would take Tylenol in advance, but I would if you have symptoms. If you do get symptoms, then you will probably
side
get
effects.
Right. Well, side effects to the dose, right? Usually second dose. It'll happen within the first few hours or in the first 24 hours. So I think in response to it, yes, they recommend Tylenol specifically. And so acetaminophen, not ibuprofen. I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on Facebook Live. I actually don't even play one. I interview one. So yeah, I would have Tylenol ready. I'm not sure if I would take it in advance necessarily.
I have so much to do. I don't have time to be sick. I rarely get sick. And
here's what I've heard, though. I did not have any symptoms or side effects, rather, from my second dose. But the people who I know who have had them said the weird thing is, well, you get it. It comes on the onset depending on who you are and which vaccine you got. The severity of it is also dependent on that and ranges from very severe flu-like symptoms to sort of achy or feverish. But it goes away within like 24 hours. So people say, unlike a real sickness where you feel really bad and then all of a sudden you feel a little better, this is just a total turn. So it's because of the vaccine.
Well, Mommy and Daddy did not feel ill at all.
Yeah, they did.
They did?
The second vaccine? Do you talk to our parents? Yes. So the second day they both had Moderna, and the second day they had the same symptoms, which is, I mean, they were out for the count. They were on the couch.
Yeah.
Well, the irony is they really probably weren't doing anything different than what they normally do. I was going to say they were stuck on the couch binge watching Netflix all day. I kept calling them. They weren't answering. And finally that night, 'cause I'm pretty sure they got their second shot on a Thursday and it was Friday. I'm like, hello. They're like, we've just been very tired. And of course, Daddy was tattling on Mommy. She wanted to go in the garden and we were both very sick. And I said, no, you're not. So, and the reality is they weren't sick. They felt sick. They felt side effects that made them that mirrored sickness, but they weren't legitimately sick. I had Pfizer. Yeah, our whole family represents all three vaccines that are available in the U.S. right now. So I had Pfizer. Alan had Moderna. Abe and Levi are Pfizer, and Arthur just got J&J. So.
I'm looking around, and you're probably wondering why.
I know you lost your muff.
I know. Where'd it go? Oh my God, that sounds dirty.
I
lost my muff. It took me.
Where did my muff go? It's like a nice.
It's the little thing that goes. I just had it. It's the thing that goes over the microphone. So now I'm worried. I'm sounding. My P's and T's and S's will sound poppy. How does it? It's like
just avoid using any words that have a P or a T in it, and you'll be fine for the rest of this podcast. Oh, see. Can't even say podcast.
Well, you said it, not me.
Didn't yours come with extra muffs? Mine came with extra muffs, and I have no idea where my extra muffs are. And not that I live near you, or else I can't even give them.
No, I have them, but it's okay. We'll just move forward.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about something. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but Levi, since we have spent a lot of time together, our youngest son, who he's in in-person school, but because of COVID, of course, we have spent an awful lot of time together, has noticed...
Not an awful time together, an awful lot.
An awful lot of time together. Yeah, I say an awful lot of time. He might say awful time together. But he was calling me out on something, and it's not a tick, but it is something I do without realizing it. And then I realized I do something else all the time that I'm trying to curb.
Is it while you talk?
So two things. Number one is what Levi called me out on is that I wink a lot at people. So
No, you do not.
I do. And I catch myself doing it.
Oh,
He goes, he had friends over a few weeks ago. He said, yeah, Noam said you winked at him or something. I said, but I don't do it. This is sounding worse than the muff. I don't do it like, hey, big fella, or, like winking to flirt with people. I do it as a sign of acknowledgement. Or, so, if someone says something, I go, and then,
like thumbs up. Like
exactly.
Thumbs up.
It is my version of thumbs up without having to actually do a thumbs up. But I don't know if I need to stop doing it. Now he's made me so self-conscious about it. Last night at the dinner table, we're talking and Levi said something to me and I was acknowledging him and nodding my head and I did the little wink and I realized that I said, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I winked at it. So now I'm so nervous. The other thing I've noticed I say a lot, and I think this is fairly new, is the word right.
Me too. I say
all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to say absolutely because Alan said you say that a lot on the podcast. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I was listening to a recent interview I did, and I said it often. Not often enough that it was annoying to probably anybody besides me and possibly Levi. But it was noticeable, so I'm trying not to say it unless it is in perfectly positioned context, which is also hard.
Well, are you saying right and winking at the same time?
Yeah, I think I am. And I realize that it's the same thing. I think people don't realize the word like is another way of saying So when people go like, and we hear kids say it.
Or
correct.
Yeah, that too.
So I think right has become my substitute for avoiding the word or like or but I didn't do it intentionally. I think it's also like the physical winking, it is the verbal cue of affirmation, but I'm trying not to use it. And so it's hard. It's hard to be cognizant of all this. I feel like I am relearning. It's almost like relearning a golf swing. I'm trying to find analogies, or learning to write with your opposite hand, your non-dominant hand, or learning to, or parting your hair on the other side. It's very uncomfortable for me to be so cautious in speaking and in interacting with people.
Right? I don't think, I mean, look, I think everyone has like a catchphrase they use all the time, right?
Right.
Oh,
see,
man.
and now once you know it, you can't unknow it.
And then to me.
I know it's going to become a drinking game. This podcast, every time we say the word right, drink.
If you're walking while you're listening to this, though, you're just going to have to be really hydrated.
Right. Oh, see, but I have to distinguish between when I'm doing affirmation and when it's just a crutch.
Yeah. Now
I know it's impossible to talk. It feels
impossible.
Paralyzing to have to really monitor what words I use. But I'm trying. I'm not perfect, so I'm going to be able to use it. Okay, something else has come up. I'm switching gears. So You are my social media Sherpa, I will call you, because you usher me through a lot of these things that I don't understand, like TikTok and Twitter and
sometimes
Instagram.
I feel like, but sometimes I feel like I'm the Sherpa that is not ushering you, but forcefully strapping you to my back. And being like, you must come on this journey with me. And you're like, I don't really want to go, but I'm zip tied to you. Okay.
Kicking and screaming. Fine. Pass me a granola bar.
What's happened?
Nothing serious, but I'm just confused. So we use Venmo a lot. And the other day, I received a friend request on Venmo.
Yeah.
What is that? And why would I understand why you would want to be my friend on Venmo, because there is a possibility I might send you cash unknowingly, but I'm very careful about who I send cash to. But why would anybody, and this is not somebody within my normal contacts, that has just said, oh, let's be Venmo friends also.
You know them. You do know them?
No, I didn't know this person. That's what I'm saying.
So there could be a couple of things. Number one, it could be that you do know them, you just don't remember knowing them, and you're listed in their contacts, and they hit that button that just adds everyone in their contact list. Okay. So that could be it. Or some people use Venmo for I don't know why they would turn an app and like a payment app into a social networking game also, because one time someone paid me something, she forgot to make it private, and we had people this dude reach out to us about being our sugar daddy, and I really wanted to respond to him.
Wait, what did she pay you for that created the impetus for that interaction?
I mean, it was something totally benign, right?
Okay,
It was not anything that could have been mislabeled or whatever. It's but people use it, I think, in the scammy way, so I would not become friends with them.
No, I did not become friends, but I was laughing because, to your point, why would they use Venmo as a social media interactive platform? Which brings up another question that you just brought up. Why are people not doing everything privately? What is the benefit of doing public transactions?
I don't understand that either. I'm that's above my age grade.
It is above your age grade. And this is not judgy. I'm not saying, "Oh, who are you people?" I really don't understand. I don't understand why people want to make their, I paid, John $5 for pizza. I gave him $30 for piano lessons. Like, I don't understand why people need to see what you're paying for.
Yeah, I don't understand either. And there's 3 different variations that you can choose from. There's private, there's share with friends, and then there's public for everyone to see. And I don't understand why you don't just keep it private.
No,
I wish
either.
Yeah, and be able to just toggle it to permanently private. That it seems silly that you have to choose every time.
No, mine's permanently private.
It is?
Yeah.
Why is mine? I have to choose every time I pay my friend Peter to teach Oscar drum lessons.
I think mine's always private. I've set my settings to private.
If it wasn't, you would have been contacted by this sugar daddy.
For all those piano lessons I've been paying for.
Yeah, I'm just kicking myself for not responding to him that would have made great fodder for the podcast next time.
Yeah. Here's where Venmo could be public, and I could see it happening. A friend of mine said right about the time that Venmo was created, she was suggesting that there should be an app where people could give philanthropically. So give to charities, sort of like, there's some not the Kickstarters, but GoFundMe or things like that. But more streamlined, that these are specifically for donations that you make, and that people could see that, and that would inspire people to give. So I could see Amanda gave $10 to American Heart Association in honor of, Go Red Month or something. And I'd say, oh, I didn't know it was Go Red Month. I'm going to give too.
But that does exist.
What is it?
With GoFundMe. Like, you can share publicly. You can post it on Facebook and all these other places.
I know, but it's not an app.
Right. It would be just like
GoFundMe, you have to do through your credit card. It's still that almost traditional, even though it's online. It's a traditional way of giving because you have to do it through your credit card. They were saying this could be an app, a social share app, similar to Venmo. The problem with Venmo is, I don't know how I guess you can be a verified nonprofit and give, and it'd be tax deductible anyway.
Right. Yeah.
I am not going to go friend that guy.
So good. That's a good decision. Send them to me. I'll friend them and we'll talk.
You need more friends.
I do. I need more fake friends. So speaking of me being your social media guru, I know I've been trying to get you on that app Clubhouse, which they say it's like an audio drop-in social app. It's like, if AOL chat rooms were actually really chatting.
Right.
So,
or if some of the people were really chatting, because can't you limit who gets to speak and who has to listen?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're either an audience member or a speaker. So, but I have fallen into the category. I have this algorithm of getting meeting rooms that are parody rooms, right? And
like Weird Al Yankovic is running them, or what?
No, like there's this one room being run by a comedian, and it's let us interpret your dreams badly, right? Let us do a but like, and to me that's obviously like they're not really dream interpreters, or even saying we are amateur dream interpreters and we are going to try and guide you to figure out what your dreams mean. It was like the LOL room or something like that.
Right.
So I'm in there to tell them I actually made up a dream. I didn't even. So I'm a parody dreamer, I guess.
Right.
And and this woman comes in, right? And she starts talking about this dream and how she's able to predict earthquakes and all these dreams that she's had, and they were all just silent. They didn't know what to do with her because she was actually looking for like a real dream interpretation, and they just skipped her, right? But then she kept on trying to interpret everyone else's dreams, and someone was like being silly and was talking about how they feared water, which I think was true. And they had these water dreams, and someone's like, I'm going to teach you how to scuba dive. And the woman piped in. She goes, I just don't think that's a good idea to teach someone how to scuba dive who doesn't know how to, and they didn't know what to do with it. But it's fun. And then my friend Dewey runs a club called Professional Moderators, where they're just pretending to be professional moderators for rooms. And they'll do things like they had a life coach room where it was actually a mixer, right? So they're like bringing people in who were fake life coaches to talk about life coaching. But
if you don't know if it's fake, the one person who gets in and is looking for real advice.
Yeah, and that's what happened. They're looking for real advice.
Do you think Huey and Louie are upset that Dewey went out on his own?
Oh man, I'm sure he's heard that before.
I couldn't resist. I can't believe you know somebody named Dewey. That's a great name.
Yes, and he's fun to talk to also. Shout out to Sinead, who's my friend from Clubhouse who listens to our podcast.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Sinead.
good. So all of this to say, what is the point? What are you doing there on Clubhouse besides fake dream interpretation?
Well, I see it as it's just another way to perform, right? Like Dewey calls us a comedy troupe. And I'll take that. I'm not doing live comedy shows yet, right? I'm gonna start doing that in a couple weeks, but once I'm fully vaccinated. But so I like the creative outlet, and it's so just kind of sweet to think about all these people from literally around the world who just want a social connection. They're just trying to connect with people. And what I was talking to Erin about this, what I find so interesting is that, like, how you'll be at a party and there's some people that you'll converse with, but you don't really connect with.
Right.
And then there's someone that you meet and you immediately connect with them, and you could talk to them all night. You could sit on the couch with them and chit chat all night. Versus the other people, it's like more exhausting, right? And that's what I'm finding with Clubhouse, is that there's people who you instantly connect with, and there's other people that you just don't.
You are literally encapsulating my entire experience on AOL chat rooms back in the early 90s. That's exactly what would happen.
Yeah,
You're right. That analogy is perfect because you could tell somebody's personality. Of course, now you can tell somebody's personality because you're actually hearing them speak. But you could tell somebody's personality just by the way they typed, how fast they typed, if they were quick with their typing,
right,
and
clever.
And
yeah.
people didn't believe me. They would say, "How do you don't know those people?" I said, "I know. You get to know them." And I'm sure there were some frauds in there, but it was really pre when people were going in there to make it a scary place, right? And to scam you.
Sexual, right.
Yeah, it was 20-somethings living in downtown Chicago, or that, it had, just very innocuous room names, and people connected just to connect. And I lived by myself, so that was even more fun. So I could connect if I wanted to, and if I didn't, I was happy to be by myself.
Yeah.
So, all right, I get that, but I just keep getting alerted about all these Clubhouse things.
Turn off your notifications.
I know.
Are they me? Is it my notifications? Because there's
I think it's Clubhouse.
I was in a very small room with. Do you remember Dr. Drew Loveline? Dr. Drew Pensky?
Sort of.
He had a show that probably still exists. I'm sure he's a podcast and all but he was just, I don't know how else to describe him other than Dr. Drew, but he was like, he's not Dr. Phil, he's not Dr. Oz, but does internal medicine and psychology.
It sounds familiar.
And he would answer people's like sex questions. And I think he co-hosted a show with Adam Carolla. Do you remember Adam Carolla?
No.
Who later had like a man cave show. Anyways, he's on Clubhouse, and literally it was Dr. Drew, his wife, and like two people in the audience, and he's like, I think multi-streaming somewhere else, but he's talking to Clubhouse, And he's like, anyone have a question? I'm like, now I got to ask a question.
Oh gosh.
Right. Because I'm always that person. If no one's participating, then I'm like, I got to come up with a question so this isn't awkward. And I mean, I did. It was such a Monday. He was talking about addiction. So I was like, people have been creating addiction rooms for Clubhouse around being addicted to Clubhouse. Right. I go, what do you say? Is it how are like social media and addiction? He goes, yeah, people who are addicted to social media also have an underlying addictive issue.
Personality.
Yes. Yeah.
They just funnel it different places.
Yeah. Right. So I'm like, am I addicted to social media? I feel like no, because I can take a break.
Well, as an unofficial addiction interpreter of dreams and wishes, I'm going to analyze you right now and say, yes, you are addicted to social media.
No, I can
both
say
in
no.
reality and in your dreams. That's what I am hearing.
I'm not addicted. I can step away.
Can you, though?
I can stop anytime.
Can you, though? I'd like to see how long you could go without being on any social media platform.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen. But I mean, like, I can go to bed is what I'm saying.
Oh, you can step away until the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have to. But there's people in Clubhouse who are on like throughout the night.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Like they never go to bed. They're waking up. They're going to bed at like 5 a.m.
This is who I feel bad for. I feel bad for the 1-800 sex operators who are losing their jobs because now there are all these free ways to connect with people you don't know and who are probably having very similar conversations at no charge.
That's funny.
What's happening to that industry? I'm serious.
You know what? Do you know that I did a voiceover work for an adult animation? Well, not that sort of adult. It was Adult Swim. It was Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Okay.
And I was the sex phone operator. That's what they kept on giving me, these sexy voice VO roles for the same show. And
I hope this is on your resume. That's a great thing.
It is.
Yes.
It is on my resume. So, but this character Carl, he would call up the sex phone operator line and he wouldn't want to pay for it, so he would just listen to the intro over and over again. And that reminds me of what, people are basically trying to get. Yeah, I bet there's not a sex phone operator business anymore. It's been taken over. Now there's the cam girls. Do you know what a cam girl is?
I have no idea. Is that girls on camera doing YouTube videos?
Yeah.
That's just a guess.
No. It's there's like websites you can go to and make special requests.
Oh,
and
Lordy.
Yeah. I mean, I think the podcast is going somewhere. We have to stop.
Yeah, this is going down a very, very dark rabbit hole today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It started with the lost muff. So
rabbit hole's an interesting phrase to use. So there is someone to blame for my internet chatting with strangers, I guess addiction or hobby, whatever you want to call it. It depends on your perspective.
Mommy?
But no. It's my friend from BBYO, which is a Jewish youth group. Her name is Jen Goodwin.
Well, of course we know Jen.
No, you don't. You don't. Well, I mean, you know her because I've mentioned it before.
I know her because she's famous.
Yeah, Jennifer Goodwin, who changed the spelling of her name to be G-I-N instead of J-E-N.
Wait, she changed the spelling?
Because people were mispronouncing her name. It was like people other people were saying Jan instead of Jen. Like we say the Southern Jennifer, but people are saying Jan instead of Jen. It's like very...
Oh, it's subtle. Jen and Jen.
Yeah.
But she wanted to be a Jennifer, not a Jennifer.
Exactly.
Oh.
So she changed the spelling so people would pronounce her name correctly. But anyways, she was like, speaking of people you instantly connect with, she was my friend at first sight from BBYO. And we both liked the Beastie Boys. We both wore platform Converse, platform tennis shoes. And this was the mid 90s. So, and I was spending the night at her house one time and
where's she from? Where was
Memphis.
this?
She's from Memphis. And I don't want to call it the dark web, but because I don't think that existed. But she knew how to get into these chat rooms. But this is when the computer screens were like green and black, right? But anyways, no, she introduced me to like the teen room, like Memphis teens. And so I then became pen pals with this guy from Memphis through that chat room. Totally forgot about this guy until like a year ago. I get a message on Facebook saying, "Hey, Amanda,
I want to be your sugar daddy."
saying, "Hey, Amanda, I don't know if you remember me, but we were introduced by Jen Goodwin through chat rooms, and when we were in high school,
Come on.
And we used to send letters back and forth. I was in my parents' attic going through stuff and found the letter that you had sent me, and I had like and."
This is crazy.
Yeah. So, and he like sent me, he like took a picture of it and said, I had no recollection of messaging with him. I do remember like talking to boys, but I was so into having pen pals, you know,
you were the pen pal queen. And let me be clear, pen pal, not pin pal.
See, I don't see a difference. And people get confused also when I say pen. I say it wrong. Mint and mint also, like mint candy, mint gum.
I know what mint gum is. What's mint?
MINT.
I know. What's the other mint?
Mint gum, mint candy. There is none, but they think like commitment, like mint. Like I'm saying it wrong. Like I'm not saying MINT. I'm saying MENT.
It
and
is.
the same with pen and pen.
Well, commitment is MENT.
Right. And I'm there, and I'm saying I'm saying mint, like
I gotcha.
that you eat. Anyways, yeah. This is back to the whole Jennifer.
Yes, that's what I was referencing too.
Right. Yeah.
So, are you still in touch with this pen pal?
No. We connected on Facebook and that was it. But anyways, but she introduced me to that whole thing, and then it's called IRC chat. And then in college, I used to do the IRC chat for Beastie Boys fans. And that's and so it was before it. I mean, I guess AOL chat rooms existed, but this was through like, I don't even know how I got into the screen. It felt like the dark web.
It wasn't. Well, back then, yeah, there were these sort of intranet like options, because I used to, the first email account I ever had, which I don't even know if it was called email at the time, was when I started graduate school, and one of my roommates from Brandeis was at law school, and she had the same access. Like we were using the same software at our different schools. And she's like, I have this account through, my school, and I can send you letters through the computer. I'm like, I can too. And I remember I would have to go, but I couldn't do it on my home computer. I had to go to the library and log in through the Northwestern server, and then I would send her. And then literally that was even more fun. Like I would come back to see if there was a message waiting for me. And so even if it was a day later, it felt so instantaneous because it was quicker than mail.
Right.
Not quicker than a phone call, but at the time there were no cell phones. So phone calls long distance between Baltimore and Chicago were still expensive. So this was a cheap, quick way for instant messaging gratification.
Murray asked me the other day, what's an email address? And I'm like, what do you mean? What is an email address?
What does he mean?
I go, email and email address are the same thing.
Like if someone just says, what's your email?
Someone had asked him, what's your email address?
Oh, and he didn't realize it was called. That was like, he was using the truncated version of email address by just saying, This is my email.
I guess it's like someone saying, what's your zip versus what's your zip code?
Yeah.
And growing up, never hearing the word zip code, right? What's a zip code?
I distinctly remember a conversation. I don't know how long ago this was, but in some marketing committee meeting of talking about, do we have to put www in front of the web address? Because everybody at that point had already reconciled the fact that you can't get on the web without saying www. And now you can. Now you can just put in, something.com or something.org and it'll show up. But it was so funny. We're like, I think we can save that space on this flyer, back when we were sending out flyers.
Oh,
I think
totally.
we saved by, and people know if you just say something.com, they'll get there. We're like, really? Are you sure they won't go somewhere else?
Yeah, I remember getting into a debate also about that. We would do like digital ads and also on-air ads for cartoon, and there was a big debate, and someone came in from New York. Someone was hired from New York City, and he was like, I'm now I got to do a New York accent. We don't, hey everyone, no, I'm totally. I went to like the 1920s newspaper guy.
You were like a circus guy,
right? Drop the W. It's just so wordy to have to say that.
It's just so wordy.
Whether you found us through your friends or through the dark web, we hope you enjoyed this latest episode of Sis and Tell. And just a reminder, share us with your friends, share us with your enemies, share us with that guy you just met on Venmo. Just share us.
And you can always visit us at www.sisandtell.com. As always, this has been Amanda and Allison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.